Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Mr. Hall, and today we are going to talk about problem and solution. The problem is what the character in the story wants to try to fix or change. The solution is how that problem was fixed or changed. We can think of this in terms of like math. In math class, you're often given word problems, and with your word problems, you have to figure out what is it that they want you to do and how you can best solve that. Today, we are going to read a story called Ron's Big Mission. And with this story, we are going to identify the problem and the solution. So meaning, how did Ron fix this problem? Join me as I read along. You're up early this morning, Ron. What's the rush? Asked Mrs. McNair. Come and have your breakfast. I made some oatmeal. I have to go, Mama, said Ron, trying on his sneakers. I have something to do this morning. You always have something to do, said his mother with a smile. Just be home by lunchtime, okay? Ron was 9 years old. That morning, he left his house with a plan. He'd been thinking about it for a long time. It was a beautiful South Carolina summer day, and Ron looked up at the blue, blue sky. Someday, he thought, he would be up there, flying a plane. He wanted to be a pilot when he grew up. But today, Ron had something else on his mind. Something very important. I wonder what is really important to Ron at this moment. He's rushing out the house. He's kind of looking up at the sky, and we know that he wants to be in a plane someday. Ron walked down the street as fast as he could. He didn't want to be late. Hi, Ron, the grocer called from the front of his store. There you are, just in time for a donut. Morning, Mr. Douglas, said Ron. Thank you, but there's someplace I've got to be. And Ron kept walking. Down by the schoolyard, Ron saw his friend Carl shooting baskets. All right, you made it, called Carl. Hi, Carl, said Ron. I wish I could stay, but I've got something important to do. More important than basketball on summer vacation, said Carl. Are you kidding? Ron laughed. He loved to play basketball, but not today. Today was too important. Ron kept on walking. So we know that Ron is really busy. He's really trying to get to something. He's definitely left his house. He skipped a donut. Now he doesn't even want to play basketball with his friend. And he loves basketball. When Ron got to the Lake City Public Library, he stopped. This was it. He was hot from walking so fast, and he was nervous too. He took a deep breath, lifted his head up high, and went inside. Sounds like Ron's got some confidence right now. Mrs. Scott was busy getting ready for all the people who would be using the library today. As the head librarian, she had to make sure that everything was neat and orderly. Mrs. Scott looked up to welcome her first visitor of the day. She smiled as Ron walked in. He was her best customer. Ron gave a little wave to Mrs. Scott and went right to the shelves. He's really on a mission. He's going straight to the shelves. So that means he's looking for some books. It took Ron a while to find some books. He always looked for books that showed children who looked like him. But that was hard. There were not many books about black kids on the shelves. At last, Ron found some books on airplanes. He took the books and started to walk to the front desk. Ron felt nervous and his hands felt a little sweaty, but he knew what he wanted to do. Mrs. Fielding, a white lady who was often in the library, stopped him. You can give me the books and I'll check them out for you, Ron, she said gently. No thanks, Mrs. Fielding, Ron said. I'm going to do it all by myself. But Ron, she started to say, I think this is the part of the story where we are running into some kind of problem. One of the ladies in the library decides that she wants to try to help Ron, but Ron is too focused on getting to the front of the library to check out the books. I wonder what's going to happen next. Ron was already on his way to the front desk. He put the books on the counter. I'd like to check these out, please, said Ron. The desk clerk didn't look at him. Didn't she hear me? Ron wondered. Ron knew what he had to do. At this point, Ron goes to the front. He tries to check out the books, and the clerk didn't even acknowledge that he was there. It's like she ignored him. So Ron is conjuring up some kind of plan. I wonder what he's going to do right now. He knows what he's going to do. Let's find out what he does. He jumped up on the counter. He wanted the desk clerk to know he was serious. "I'd like to check out these books," he said quietly. At first, the desk clerk and Mrs. Scott just looked at each other. "You know, you can't check out books, Ron," said Mrs. Scott. "You can read them here. That's the rule. Only white people can check out books from the library." Ron looked at Mrs. Scott and the desk clerk politely, but he would not budge. "I always read them here. Today, I want to check them out," said Ron. Mrs. Scott and the desk clerk did not know what to do. Ron wouldn't get off the counter. People were staring. Finally, the desk clerk called the Lake City Police. Sounds like she didn't really know what to do, but Ron is trying to solve his problem. Can you think about what his problem is so far in the story? Two policemen came right over. "Let someone check out the books for you, son," said one of the policemen. "You know the rules." But Ron just shook his head. He would not budge. Ron's not listening to anybody. Now, Mrs. Scott called Ron's mother. Mrs. McNair came to the library very quickly. "I know how you feel, baby," she said, "but you have to follow the rules." "I can't, Mama," Ron told her. "It's wrong. The rules are not fair. Why can't I check out books like everyone else?" No one said anything. Not the desk clerk, not Mrs. Scott, not the policeman, not even Ron's mother. Mrs. Scott looked at Ron. She thought about all the times that Ron came into the library and all the times he sat at the tables for hours looking over so many books. He was her best customer, and she knew what she had to do. What do you think that the librarian is going to do? Do you think that she's going to help Ron in some kind of way? I think that too. Let's find out. Mrs. Scott walked back into her office and started writing. Ron wondered what she was doing. I think everybody's wondering what she's doing at this point. What is Mrs. Scott doing? Mrs. Scott returned and handed Ron a library card. His library card. Ron looked at Mrs. Scott and smiled. As he jumped to the floor, he thought he saw her smile too. "I'd like to check out these books, please," he said, handing the card to the desk clerk. The desk clerk took his library card and stamped the cards in the back of the books. "These are due back in 2 weeks," she said. Ron smiled. "Thank you," he said. He tucked the books under his arm and took his mother's hand. Together, they walked home. Ron couldn't wait to get to his room and open to page 1. Let's talk about the problem and solution here. That was a fantastic story, and I believe that the problem was that Ron couldn't check out books from the library. He knew that things weren't quite fair or equal in terms that he was a black kid and he couldn't check out books, but white kids could. That was a problem to him. So the way that Ron attempted to solve his problem was that he advocated for himself. He stood up for what he believed in. I encourage you all to continue to stand up for what you believe in and fight for change. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and I hope to see you all again soon.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania for first and second graders. I'm so happy you're here with me today. Let's learn something new in math. Today, we're going to be talking about subtracting two two-digit numbers within 100. We're also going to be adding an extra step today. Let's go ahead and go over our I can statement. We see I can subtract two-digit numbers using expanded form and regrouping. So we see an I can statement that sounds very familiar. Last week, our I can statement just said, I can subtract two-digit numbers using expanded form. Now we're adding that and regrouping. Wonder what that means. What does the word regrouping mean? When we regroup numbers, we're kind of just rearranging them. We're moving them from different place values to help with our subtraction. So we can also think about regrouping as rearranging numbers. We also remember that when we're subtracting, we're taking away. You might also hear the word minus. That's also a way we use, that's also a word we use to describe subtraction. So I can put minus, take away, and we also have expanded form. And by now we've gotten really used to using expanded form, and that's when we show the value of digits in a number. So all we're doing today is taking away or minusing or subtracting 2-digit numbers using expanded form, so using that method where we see all the values, and regrouping. So we're going to be rearranging our place values today to help us with our subtraction. Let's go ahead and get started. Our first problem today is 51 minus 25. I noticed that my bigger number is coming first because in a subtraction problem, we always want to have that bigger number first. I'm going to go ahead and stack it up because that's my first step when I'm subtracting. After I've stacked it up, we've been identifying. We've been identifying by putting squares around our tens place and circles around our ones place. But this week, I want to take that step out, and I want us to just kind of identify by looking or seeing the tens in the ones place. So I see that there's a 5 in my tens place. I know there's a 1 in my ones place. I see there's a 2 in the tens place, and I see there's a 5 in the ones place. So we're taking out that step because now I think we're really good at identifying place value. We know what numbers, so when we go do our next step of expanded form, we already are ready to go. All right, our next one is expanding. So we have the number 51. Remember how we've practiced when we say 51, we're actually hearing the value of the number. So I hear 51. So I know when I put my number 51 in expanded form, I have 5 tens or 50 and 1, 51. The next one's 25. Again, I hear the value, 25. So 2 tens is 20 plus 5 ones. Now we have expanded, and this is where we're going to be adding an extra step today. Before we can subtract, there's something I already notice. So if I were to go right now, say, I know I need to subtract, let's go ahead. We always start in our ones place. Let's get going. I do 1 minus 5. Can I do 1 minus 5? If I was holding 1 cookie and you came up to me and said, can I have 5 cookies? Would I be able to hand you 5 cookies? No way. I only have 1. So this is where we're adding this step to regroup. So after expand, before subtract, we need to regroup. We need to rearrange some numbers here so that we can subtract. Because right now, I can't give you 5 when I only have 1. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to regroup. I'm going to take one group of 10 from my tens column just in my top number. If I look at my number 50 and I want to take one group of 10, 50 is 5 tens. So if I'm taking 1 away, that means I'm going to have 4 tens. If I take 1, this 50 is going to be left with 4 tens. 4 tens, I know, is 40. Now, that group of 10 has to go somewhere. If it doesn't go anywhere, it changes my number completely. If I didn't put my 10 anywhere, now it would just be 41 minus 25, but that's not our problem and we can't change it. So I need to put my group of 10 into my ones place. If I add one group of 10 to the number 1, I'm now going to have the number 11. I'm essentially just doing 1 plus 10. Now, the number 40, 4 tens, and 11 ones, that's still the number 51. My number has not changed. 40 plus 11 is still 51. So now I'm good to subtract because guess what? Now I have 11. If I had 11 cookies and you said, can I have 5? I'd say sure, because now I have them to give. So now we can go ahead and do our subtraction. So now we have 11 minus 5. 11 take away 5. What is 11 take away 5? 11 take away 5 is 6. Now I need to go to my tens column. 50 no longer exists. So I'm taking 40 minus 20, or 4 tens minus 2 tens. I like thinking of it that way because it's such an easier problem, right? 40 minus 20 seems big and scary, but 4 minus 2, much easier. 4 minus 2 is 2, so 2 tens is 20. Now my answer is sitting in expanded form. I look at my last step and I just need to squish it all together. So 20 plus 6, my answer is in expanded form. I squish it together and I get 26. So 51 minus 25 equals 26. Let's practice together. Let's try the problem 82 minus 36. Go ahead and write this on the top of your paper. What's our first step when solving a two-digit subtraction problem? That's right, let's go ahead and stack it up. I double check to make sure my bigger number is still sitting on top. I know 82 is the larger number because of that 8 in the tens place is definitely bigger than the 3 in the tens place and the number 36. I've kind of already halfway done step 2, which is to identify. I already identified that I see an 8 in my tens place and a 3 in my tens place because I noticed them when I was stacking them up to make sure I had them in the right order. Now I just really need to look at my ones place. I can hear it, 82. There's that value of the 2, which means 2 is in the ones place. Same with the number 36. So I have a 6 in the ones place and the number 36. There we go. We quickly did step 2. Let's go ahead and do step 3, where we expand our words. We expand our numbers out. Here we go. The number 82. I hear it, 82. Hear the value of the number in the tens place, which is 80, and the value in the ones place, which is 2. I'm going to do the same thing with the number 36. 30, 3 tens is 30, plus 6 in the ones place. I've expanded them out. Now I'm not ready to subtract. I'm not ready to subtract because I see the 2 in my ones place is smaller than the 6 in my ones place. If I was holding 2 M&Ms and you asked me for 6, I'd say, are you crazy? I only got 2. So what can I do? I need to regroup. I need to rearrange my number. I need to put different numbers with different values so I'm able to subtract. All right? So if I look at my 2, I'm going to take from my tens place. My tens place has 8 tens. I'm just going to take 1 10. If I take 1 10, that's going to leave me with 7 tens. 7 tens is the number 70. Now I need to give that group of 10 to my ones place. I can't just not do anything with it. Otherwise my number would change. It has to go into my ones place. Adding one group of 10 to the number 2 is going to give me the number 12. There was a 2 in the ones place, and now I'm adding one group of 10 to the tens place. Now, can I subtract? I have 12 M&Ms. Can I give you 6? Absolutely. So now, if I do 12 minus 6, I know this one because I always remember 6 plus 6 equals 12. So 12 minus 6 is 6. Now I need to subtract my tens place. I have 70 minus 30. I like to remember this as 7 tens minus 3 tens because that's so much easier to subtract, right? 7 minus 3 seems so much easier than 70 minus 30. 7 minus 3 is 4, so I have 4 tens or the number 40. Now I have my answer sitting in expanded form. So I get to do my last step of squishing it all together. And when I squish it together, 40 plus 6 is 46. Nice job. I'm going to challenge you today with a word problem. I want you to see if you can listen and write down the problem that you need to solve to find the answer. All right, here it is. My teacher made 54 cupcakes. That's so many cupcakes. She then passed out 17 cupcakes. How many cupcakes does she still have? She made 54 cupcakes. She passed out 17 of them. How many cupcakes does she still have? Well, I hear that first big number, 54. I also hear that she's already given away 17. You need to solve this subtraction problem to see how many cupcakes does the teacher have left. Remember, you want to stack it up, identify the tens and the ones, expand the number 54 and 17, and this is the tricky part. Now we need to regroup. We need to rearrange so that you are able to subtract the number in the ones place. Then you can subtract and squish it together to get your answer. I can't wait to see what you can do. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania. I'll see you next time.
Hello and welcome back to first and second grade science. I'm Miss Allen and I am happy you are here today. In our journey together, we've been learning about our cosmic address. So far, we've learned about the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, our sun, the moon, and now we are learning about our planet Earth. We learned about the layers of the Earth, and last week we learned about the atmosphere. We learned about the atmosphere, the layer of gas that surrounds our planet Earth. Do you remember what are 3 things the atmosphere does? There were 3 important things that we learned about the atmosphere. It helps us breathe, protects us from the sun's rays, and regulates the temperature and allows the water cycle to occur. So we know that our planet Earth was made up of 3 things: land, air, and water. So last week we learned about the air, the atmosphere. This week we'll need to learn about the land and the water. So just a reminder, we said land, air, and water. So looking at my globe, do you think the globe of the planet Earth shows us that the Earth is made up of more land or more water? What do you think? If you're thinking that the Earth is made up of more water, you are correct. The Earth is made up of about 71% of the Earth is made up of water. The land on Earth is comprised of 7 different continents. Let's sing a song to learn the names of the continents. North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Africa. Don't forget Australia. Don't forget Antarctica. The 7 continents. So the land is divided into 7 continents. We live in the continent North America. The water on Earth comes in different forms. We can find the water in oceans, rivers, lakes, and ponds. We learned that about 71% of Earth's surface is made up of water, and about 95% of that water is in the form of an ocean. There is one world ocean, and it's divided into 5 different basins. Those basins are the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic, and Southern Ocean. We know that the Earth is comprised of land, air, and water. There are different living things, different creatures that live in the air, the land, or the water of our Earth. We're going to play a game, and I'm going to show you a picture of a creature. I want you to tell me if they live on the land, the air, or the water. Where can you find an elephant? The land, air, or water? Yes, land. Where can you find a dolphin? Land, air, or water? Yes, water. Where can you find a bird? Land, air, or water? Yes, in the air. Where can you find a fish? Land, air, or water? Yes, in the water. Where can you find a butterfly? Land, air, or water? Air. Where can you find a dog? On the land, in the air, or in the water? On the land. Now for our second part of this game, I'm going to show you an activity, and I want you to tell me, does the activity take place on land, air, or water? And maybe this is an activity that you've done before. Did you do it on the land, the air, or the water? If you were going to take a bike ride, would you ride your bike on the land, in the air, or in the water? Yes, you would ride it on the land. If you were taking a plane to travel somewhere else, how would you get there? In the land, air, or water? In the air. What about taking a boat? Do you take a boat ride on the land, in the air, or in the water? Take a boat ride in the water. Have you ever been in a hot air balloon? Do you know where they fly? On the land, in the air, or in the water? Yes, they fly in the air. What about a car? Does a car drive on land, air, or water? On the land. If you go for a walk or a hike, do you walk on land, air, or water? On the land. What about swimming? Do you swim on the land, in the air, or the water? We swim in the water. My follow-up assignment for you today is to go on a walk around the space that you live, or maybe around an area in your neighborhood, and look for different things in the land, the air, and the water. See what you can find. Thanks for joining me this week as we learned about land, air, and water. I will see you next time.
欢迎学汉语，欢迎。My name is Jin Yang, and this is the Chinese lesson for grade 1 and grade 2 student. It's also for beginners in learning Chinese. Today, we are going to go over asking and answering "How are you today?" in Chinese. What you will need today is a notebook and a pencil if you need to take a note. Okay, let's get ready to learn. First, let's review how to ask "How old are you?" in Chinese. 你几岁？你几岁？你几岁？我4岁。我4岁。你多大？你多大？我10岁。我10岁。他几岁？他4岁。他多大？他10岁。Great! Now, let's learn how to say today in Chinese. 今天，今天。 let's say, how are you today in Chinese? 你今天怎么样？你今天怎么样？ Let's try. 你今天怎么样？你今天怎么样？ Let's put together. 你今天怎么样？你今天怎么样？ How do we answer? 请听我说 Listen first. 很开心，很开心，我很开心。I'm very happy. 很开心。不开心，不开心，我不开心。I'm not happy. 很好，很好，很好，我很好。不好，不好，不好，我不好。I'm not good. 很好 I'm good. 我很好。马马虎虎，马马虎虎，马马虎虎，我马马虎虎。Just so so. 很忙，很忙，很忙。Very busy. 很忙。很累，很累，很累。我很累。I'm tired. 我很累。Great. Let's review. Please say with 杨老师。很开心，很开心，我很开心。很好，很好，我很好。不好，不好，我不好。不开心，不开心，我不开心。马马虎虎，马马虎虎，我马马虎虎。很忙，很忙，我很忙。很累，很累，我很累。Great. Now let's say sentence together. Are you ready? 你今天怎么样？我很好。你今天怎么样？我马马虎虎。你今天怎么样？我不好。你今天怎么样？我很累。你今天怎么样？我很开心。我很开心。你今天怎么样？我不开心。我不开心。你今天怎么样？我很忙。我很忙。Very good. Now, Miss Yang, going to ask you, how are you today in Chinese? Please answer based on the picture. 你今天怎么样？你今天怎么样？我很开心。 你今天怎么样？你今天怎么样？我不开心。你今天怎么样？我很忙。你今天怎么样？我马马虎虎。你今天怎么样？我很好。你今天怎么样？我很累。你今天怎么样？我不好。你今天怎么样？我很开心。你今天怎么样？我很忙。你今天怎么样？我很好。我很好。Great. Now, Miss Yang going to act out. Please guess my mood. To guess 杨老师今天怎么样？杨老师今天怎么样？我很好。杨老师今天怎么样？我很累。杨老师今天怎么样？我马马虎虎。杨老师今天怎么样？我很忙。杨老师今天怎么样？我很好。我很开心。Great. Now, let's review. How do you answer? 你今天怎么样？很好，我很好。不好，我不好。马马虎虎，我马马虎虎。不开心，我不开心。很忙，我很忙。Now, let's talk about assignment for this week. Please practice asking and answering "How are you today?" in Chinese. 1. 你今天怎么样？ 2. 我很好。3. 我很开心。4. 我不开心。That concludes our lesson for today. It has been my pleasure having you in the class. My name is Jin Yang. See you next week. 再见，再见。
Hotep Scholars, I'm Professor Horton, and this is STEM for 2nd grade. We've been talking all about matter. We said that matter is anything that takes up space. That means that this truck is matter, this pen is matter, I'm matter, and so are you. Then we took a look at 2 properties that are used to describe matter. We talked about color and texture. So this week, we're going to learn how to transform matter. Matter can be found in different forms: solid, liquid, or gas. These forms of matter are called states of matter. The state of matter can change when an object is heated or cooled. Let's go back into the lab and take a closer look at the different states of matter. Hotep scholars, we're back into the lab and we're ready to do our next lab experiment. For today, we're going to learn about all three states of matter. We said that there are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Today I'm going to show you an example of each, and then we're going to do an overnight experiment to see if we can transform them from one state to the next. The first state of matter that we'll look at is gas. So for gas, it's very simple. We're just going to take a Ziploc bag, we'll blow air into it, zip it up, and notice that it's now taking up space. So air is an example of gas. The next example that we'll look at is a liquid. So for the liquid, I'm simply going to fill up the Ziploc bag with water. All right. I'm going to make sure that I close it and seal it as tight as possible so that there's no water leaking. And now we have our second example of matter. Water is a liquid. For the last example, solid, I'm going to use a crayon. We're going to take our crayon, put it inside of a plastic bag, again, seal it up, and our crayon is a solid. So now we have all three states of matter. For today's experiment, we're actually going to take all three states of matter, gas, liquid, and solid, and we're going to put them in the freezer. We're going to put them in the freezer and we'll leave them there overnight. So before you put yours in the freezer, let's make a hypothesis. That's an educated guess based upon facts. Which state of matter do you think will change into another state? Do you think that gas will transform into either a liquid or a solid? Do you think that liquid, water, will transform into a gas or a solid? How about the crayon, which is already a solid? Do you think that it will transform into a liquid or into a gas? All we can do is test it out. So, your assignment is to get with your parents. All you need for today are 3 plastic Ziploc bags, 1 crayon, water, and your breath. All right? You will fill each plastic bag with 1 state of matter. Then you'll put all 3 into the freezer overnight. Document your findings in your launch log both before and after by illustrating each state of matter. Once you've illustrated each state of matter, talk about your findings with your parents. Did the gas change into a liquid? Did the solid change into a gas? Did the liquid change into a solid? Analyze your findings and document what happened. All right, that's all I have for you today. I'll see you guys next week when we transform matter again into an irreversible state. Until then, have a good day.
We're happy to have you visit our family here at Northeast Middle School. My name is Principal Schriever, and I am the principal here at Northeast Middle School. We serve students in the 7th and 8th grade in the historic Northeast neighborhood in Kansas City.
Welcome to Northeast Middle, the home of the mighty Titans.
Welcome to Northeast Middle. Transitioning to middle school is exciting, but it can also be scary. But that's what we're here for. I teach student success skills, a class where students get in touch with their emotions and learn how to stay on task in their courses.
Hello, my name is Mirna Naya. I am the parent liaison at Northeast Middle School. I communicate with parents, legal guardians regarding school information, events, school advisory committee, and more. I love interacting with students' families every day.
Hello and welcome. My name is Christine Dismay, and I teach geography and economics here at Northeast Middle School. We have a safe and nurturing environment in our classrooms. Your student will enjoy learning here.
Hi, I'm Laura Culp. I'm an 8th grade math teacher. Welcome to 8th grade. We offer advanced courses in all core subjects. Learning here is fun and rigorous because we care about our students and their academic experience. Northeast Middle School students are successful and prepared for high school.
AVID, which stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, is a college and career readiness program. Students develop the skills they need to be successful in college starting in middle school. Most students continue their AVID course throughout high school with the same group of peers.
Hi, I'm Mr. Fleming, and I teach PE and health at Northeast Middle School, and we have a wide range of electives including choir, band, orchestra, visual arts, creative writing, and much more.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Moore, and I teach 7th, 8th grade choir. Our goal is to ensure our students get the very best academic opportunities. Our students maintain a well-rounded experience.
Northeast Middle School is truly a diverse environment. We have scholars from all over the world, and we have as many as 30 languages spoken in our building at any given time. To celebrate the diversity in our building, we host an international festival so our scholars can get a true taste of the world.
Hi, I'm Ben Jonte. I'm the art teacher at Northeast Middle School. Project Lead the Way, one of our electives, provides our students with hands-on, real-world learning. This will give them experience in growing industries like computer science, design, and robotics.
Hello, I'm Ms. Shepard, and I'm the athletic director here at Northeast Middle School. Here at Northeast Middle School, we offer variety sports for boys and girls, including basketball, track and field, soccer, wrestling, swimming, cross country, flag football, cheerleading, and volleyball.
Thank you for taking the time to visit with us today here at Northeast Middle School. To learn more about our campus or to request a personal tour, please call 816-418-3400. We look forward to sharing with you more of the exciting things occurring at Northeast Middle School.
Hi, my name is Susie Earle, and I have been employed with the district since March of 2018 with the Head Start program in the Kansas City Public School District. I have been in the early child care field since 1995. In-person learning, I feel, is the beginning of normalcy for me. I was so excited to be able to have a part in starting the in-person learning. To me, it's just like normal. It's great to have the children back, and in working in the child care field as many years as I have, it just didn't seem right to not be coming back with children to help them learn and grow and just be excited about being at school. What has been working well for in-person learning is just to be able to have the connection with the children. It doesn't have to be physical touch, it just has to be eye to eye, especially with our mouths covered, our expressions are covered. You can see in the eyes. When you connect with a child or they get something, you see it in their eyes. So to me, that's the best part, and just being able to have conversations with them, being able to still share with the families about what we do and why we do it, and that everything that we do has a purpose. So it's just great, and it makes it normal to be back in person with the children.
My name is Michelle Penzimus, and I'm the Head Start Director for Kansas City Public Schools. I've been in this role for about 3 years, and then I've served in the early childhood and mental health field for over 20. As a leader preparing for in-person learning, really, I operated through the lens of safety 100%. I needed my staff to feel safe, and I needed to know that the children and families were going to be safe. So that really involved looking at a very detailed strategic plan that started with the building. We looked at air quality, we looked at entrance for staff, where they would go in the building, how they would move throughout the building, how we would ensure that masks were worn and that there were hand sanitizers everywhere. So a lot of those physical pieces that we knew would keep people safe. We then moved into more of the programming. So then that's looking at what has to be different with education. Children need individual places for their belongings, more so than what they have had in the past. We needed to limit the classroom size. We needed to ensure that that we had sinks in our classrooms. We don't have those here at Woodlands, so I purchased portable sinks for them so they could do hand washing. We interviewed staff. What do they think that they need? How will they feel safe? What do they want us to look at? And we learned from each other. So they told us, we really want to make sure that the cots are a certain way and that eating is a certain way. We want to make sure we have extra cleaning supplies, and how do we do that? And how do we ensure that the children have masks? And so we evaluated each of those pieces, and I did it in collaboration with fellow partners around Kansas City. So I had a lot of information to go from. I collaborated a lot with staff, community. I had the CDC guidelines and the health department guidelines from the very beginning. And we worked through every step, just checking off every box as we went along, all the way from cones out front for distancing, to the sinks in the classrooms, to individual tubs for belongings, and then how teachers can do their programming and feel safe, knowing that children should still operate as a typical early childhood program. It's important that the program is still as intended because children have to interact. They have to play with each other. That's how they develop. So we had to ensure that that happened too and could happen safely.
Kindergarten is great at Kansas City Public Schools.
I know they have really good teachers. I know this is a great school.
They teach them stuff that I thought my kids would never be able to know at the age of 5.
Since deciding to send our kiddos to a neighborhood school, we've become even more of a part of our community.
Now is the time to enroll your future kindergartner for the new school year. Visit enrollkc.org today.